Donald Trump's presidency from 2017 to 2021 was defined by his America First policy approach. His economic policies were characterized by economic nationalism. Trump imposed significant tariffs, particularly on goods from China, starting a trade war between the world's two largest economies. He renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement, replacing it with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. Deregulation was a cornerstone of Trump's economic agenda, particularly in the energy and financial sectors. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 significantly reduced individual and corporate tax rates, with the corporate tax rate dropping from 35% to 21%. Trump appointed 3 conservative justices to the Supreme Court, significantly shifting its ideological balance. These appointments changed the court's balance from a 4-5 liberal-conservative split to a 3-6 split, cementing a conservative majority. Trump implemented strict immigration policies, including a controversial travel ban on citizens from several Muslim-majority countries. He also focused on increased border security measures, including attempts to build a border wall with Mexico. In international relations, Trump withdrew the United States from the Paris Agreement on climate change. This move signaled a broader shift away from international cooperation, including reduced engagement with organizations like the World Health Organization, United Nations, and NATO. The economy initially continued its expansion during Trump's term, with unemployment falling to historic lows. However, the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 led to a severe economic contraction, with unemployment spiking to nearly 15% before partially recovering. Throughout his term, Trump's America First approach remained the consistent theme connecting his domestic and international policies. Trump's first term saw significant economic trends, most notably a substantial increase in the national debt. The national debt grew from $19.9 trillion to $29.6 trillion during the 4-year term, an increase of $7.8 trillion. Trade tensions escalated significantly during the Trump administration, particularly with China. Despite campaign promises to reduce the trade deficit, it actually increased from $550 billion to $859 billion by the end of the term. The Trump administration made significant changes to environmental policies, reversing many Obama-era regulations. Key changes included withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, repealing the Clean Power Plan, rolling back vehicle emission standards, reducing national monument designations, and eliminating methane emission regulations. Trump's presidency was characterized by intense partisan division, with the largest gap in presidential approval ratings in modern history. The partisan divide was evident across multiple issues, with Republicans and Democrats holding drastically different views on Trump's performance, economic policies, immigration, climate change, and healthcare. Trump's average approval rating during his presidency was 41%, the lowest for any president since Gallup began tracking presidential approval. He never reached 50% approval in Gallup polls during his term, with his highest point at 49% in February 2020, just before the pandemic, and his lowest at 34% in December 2020, after the election. A notable foreign policy achievement was the Abraham Accords, which brokered normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab states. The agreements normalized relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco, the first new Arab-Israeli peace deals in over 25 years. The COVID-19 pandemic became a defining challenge in the final year of Trump's presidency. Key events included the first U.S. case in January 2020, declaration of national emergency in March, the $2.2 trillion CARES Act, launch of Operation Warp Speed to accelerate vaccine development, and the authorization of vaccines in December 2020. The economic impact was severe, with unemployment peaking at 14.8% in April 2020, 22 million jobs lost in the early pandemic, and GDP contracting by 31.2% in the second quarter of 2020.